halina't matuto gamit ang radyo. Ang alternatibong media network na maghahatid ng magandang balita. TKK 89.5 North Star FM. Dahil di mapipigil ng pandemya ang eskwela.
Good morning, grade 6. It's me again, Teacher Adrian. I am very happy to be with you today. We are on the third week of the fourth quarter. For today's lesson, we are going to learn about reading and interpreting electric and water meter consumption. You will also learn how to record, interpret, and write the electric and water meter reading. Are you now ready? Let's go! We all know that electricity is one of the most important forms of energy which is made available in every home, office, school, and factory. It is measured by watt-hour when it passes through an electric meter. Because the watt is a small unit, we use the kilowatt-hour to measure large quantities of electricity. The amount of electricity consumed is expressed in kilowatt-hour. Everybody say kilowatt-hour. Very good. Now let's continue. To read your meter, read the dials from left to right. The first dial turns clockwise. The second dial turns counterclockwise. The third dial turns clockwise. The fourth dial turns counterclockwise. And the fifth dial turns clockwise. And here's the steps on how to read electric meters. Number 1. Start reading the numbers pointed to by the arrows from right to left, starting from dial E to dial A. Number 2. When the pointer is between two numbers, write down the smaller number except when it is between 0 and 9. In this case, choose 9. Number 3. If the pointer appears to be exactly on a number, check the dial to the right to find out the correct reading. If the dial on the right has passed 0, then use the number the pointer is pointing to on the dial you're reading. If the dial has not passed 0, then make use of the smaller number on the dial you are reading. The source is from 21st Century Mathlets textbook, page 303. Let us now have an example. Christina was asked by her father to read their electric meter. The dials of the electric meter looked this way. First dial. The pointer pointed to number 5. Second dial. The pointer pointed in between 8 and 9. Third dial. The pointer pointed between 5 and 6. Fourth dial. The pointer pointed in between 0 and 1. And the last dial, the pointer pointed exactly to number 2. What do you think is the electric meter reading? The answer is 20,585 kilowatt hour. Let me give you another example. This time, you will write your own electric meter reading. Here we go. First dial. The pointer pointed to number 3. Second dial. The pointer is in between 6 and 7. Third dial. The pointer pointed to 6. Fourth dial. The pointer is in between 1 and 2. And the last dial, the pointer pointed exactly to number 2. What do you think is the electric meter reading? The answer is 21,663 kilowatt hour. Good job, guys! Now, you already know how to read an electric meter. But how about a water meter? Man cannot live without water, and that is a fact. In towns and cities, where water runs through the pipes, every drop of water from the faucet is measured through the water meter. The amount of water consumed is expressed in cubic meters. When reading the water meters, the rules of reading a water meter with dials are similar to the way an electric meter is being read. And here's how to read a water meter. Number 1. Start reading from right to left, clockwise. Reading the number by the pointer of the dial. When the pointer is between two numbers, the lower number is recorded. Number 2. If the pointer appears to be exactly on a number, look at the dial to the right to find out the correct reading. If the dial on the right has passed 0, then use the number the pointer is pointing to on the dial you are reading. If the dial has not passed 0, then make use of the smaller number on the dial you are reading. And number 3, record the number from right to left. Example: listen as I read the dial and let's interpret the dials on the meter. Remember that the rightmost dial has the highest value. To get the exact meter reading, start from right to left, or the highest numbered dial. Again, remember, the rightmost dial has the highest value. Dial 1. The pointer is pointed to 3. Dial 2. The pointer is in number 5. Dial 3. The pointer is in between 1 and 2. And the fourth dial is pointed between 8 and 9. What is the water meter reading? The water meter reading shows 3,518 cubic meters. The source is from 21st Century Mathlet's textbook, page 305. Congratulations, grade 6! We are now done learning water meter and electric meter reading. Let us now proceed to the part 2 of our lesson, computing the water and electric meter consumption. Let's go! To compute for water and electric meter consumption for a particular period of time, simply subtract the previous reading from the present reading. Let us solve problem number 1. Mr. Matipid is computing his monthly electrical consumption. Based on his electric bill, last month he was able to consume 124 kilowatt hour. When he checked his digital electric meter, the reading was 197 kilowatt hour. How many kilowatt hours did Mr. Matipid consumed this month? The electric meter reading shows present reading 197 kilowatt hour, previous reading 124 kilowatt hour. Therefore, present reading 197 kilowatt hour minus previous reading 124 kilowatt hour is equal to 73 kilowatt hour. To compute the electric consumption of an appliance, we used the formula electric consumption is equal to number of watts times time divided by 1000. Remember that the amount of electricity used by an appliance is equal to the product of the electric power of the appliance at the time. Example, problem number 2. How much electricity will be consumed by a 50-watt light bulb that was turned on for 8 hours? Electric consumption is equal to 50 watts times 8 hours divided by 1000. 50 watts times 8 hours is equal to 400 divided by 1000. The answer is 0.4 kilowatt hour. Now, join me in solving problem number 3. The Masinop family made a record of their 3-month water consumption. During the same period, during the COVID-19 pandemic, the initial reading is 873 cubic meters. And the meter read as March 1020, April 1342, May 1521. Answer the following questions. A. In what month did they use the most water? B. How many cubic meters of water did they use for 3 months? C. Solve for the average monthly consumption in cubic meters. To find the month in which they consumed the most water, find the amount of water they consumed every month by subtracting the initial reading from the first month's reading, then the previous month's reading from the current reading, and so on. Having an initial reading, so the water consumption for each month is March 1020 cubic meters minus 873 cubic meters. The answer is 147 cubic meters water consumption for March. April 1342 cubic meters minus 1020 cubic meters. The answer is 322 cubic meters water consumption for April. Now, I want you to answer the water consumption for May. May 1521 cubic meters minus 1342 cubic meters. What is the answer? If your answer is 179 cubic meters, you got it right! Congratulations! To get the total amount of water consumed, Just add the 3-month water consumption. 147 cubic meters for March, 322 cubic meters for April, 179 cubic meters for May. The answer is 648 cubic meters. And to get the average monthly consumption, just divide the total amount of water consumed, which is 648 cubic meters, by 3. Would you like to answer that? 216 cubic meters. Correct. And that's the end of our session for today. I assume that you have learned a lot from our discussion and ready to answer the different tasks on your module. I am Teacher Adrian na nag-iiwan sa inyo ng mga katagang madali lang ang math. Basta meron kang pagtsatsaga at pagmamahal sa pag-aaral. Maraming salamat. Hanggang sa muli. Paalam!